you feel the love tonight? Hey there, hi there, ho there, Andrew here talking about the progression and the new questions spawning from Season 6, Episode 10 of The Walking Dead, titled The Next World. Now, before I go any further, I want to warn you on the fact that I'm going to bring up things from the past on the TV show and the counterpart to it from the comic books. I will not be discussing the comic book counterpart of the future episodes coming out on TV. But if you want to read the comic book and you don't want to get any spoilers, then best stop now and read a book! This episode hinted that it had been a couple of weeks, 2 months, since the Alexandria incident. We get a chance to see Rick and Daryl on some type of buddy road trip mission, and it gives things a little bit of a lighter mood. Until they find Jesus. Sort of. His name is Paul Monroe, but his friends call him Jesus. Personally, I think it would have been better if Father Gabriel found Jesus. Jesus really is an interesting character so far, and I am looking forward to the interaction that he has with the fellow Alexandrians. Especially Daryl, since he is not a comic book character and he was made strictly for the TV show. But let's go from Jesus Paul Monroe to Spencer Monroe. No relation. At this point in time of the show, in the comic book, Spencer had a really bitter disposition. And rightfully so. His family's dead, including his mother, Deanna, who was the leader of Alexandria, but in the comic book, it was his father, Douglas. And in this episode, we see Michonne notice Spencer from her guard post as he is heading into the woods for some reason. So she follows him and then finds that he has unfinished business. Gee, I wonder what that could be. We then see Carl and Enid happen upon an unknown walker. Yeah, we know who it is. And Carl knows exactly what to do. Now, Enid wants to kill the walker right away, but she storms off because, quite frankly, she's an unlikable character. I really don't like her. I hope to see her eaten like a turtle. Seriously, she has all the character angst and likability of Kylo Ren from The Force Awakens. She needs to go, like now. However, I'm digressing here. Carl, like a ninja, brings the walker to Spencer without Spencer's knowledge, thus making Spencer go and kill the walker, who happens to be Deanna, and finally has some closure. And the topic of closure is slightly brought up in a conversation later that evening by Michonne and Carl. I mean, hey, if anyone knows what it's like to kill your mother on this show, it's going to be Carl. So my question is, will the bitterness of Spencer subside now that he has some closure by killing Walker Deanna? Only time will tell on that one. Now let's get to the big moment of this episode. Love knows no color, hashtag Michonne. Rick and Michonne have a moment on this episode. Well, more than a moment, actually. And you know it must have been good because they saw Jesus when they were done. To be honest, I'm not surprised by this at all. Back during Season 4, I actually thought that this might be a slow burn relationship. During that time, Michonne was actually befriending Carl and showing a little bit of a parental view on him as well. So the question comes up, does this doom Michonne because everyone that loves Rick eventually dies? And I will answer that with this. Is Michonne really on the same level as Jesse or Lori? Or is she a stronger character? That's a rhetorical question. Now, I have been reading the comic books and I have been wondering about Michonne and her relationships on this show because by this time in the comic books, she already had a relationship with Tyrese, who was actually cheating on Carol with her. And she had a relationship with Morgan as well. She also had other relationships in the comic books, but I'm not going to go into that. Just, I wanted to prove a point that she has an alpha female presence about her in the comic books that we haven't seen yet on the TV show. And yes, there is no secret here, the show has diverged from the comic book. Such like Herschel dying via Michonne's blade from the governor, and that was actually Tyrese in the comic book. Or Herschel's leg situation was actually Dale's predicament in the comic book. And Bob being bitten and attacked by the cannibals actually happened to Dale. And I'm bringing up these points because they're good story plots and Scott Gimple and crew have to work those storylines in, albeit just with different characters. Dale had a long history in the comic books and he had a relationship with Andrea, and after his death, she ended up with Rick. And Rick and Andrea became a power couple in the comic book, and I wouldn't be surprised if those storylines turn into Rick and Michonne, since in the TV show, Andrea is dead now. I'm just wondering, since we didn't see Michonne with Tyrese or Morgan, and we didn't see Tyrese with Carol, are we going to see Morgan with Carol? Actually, will we be seeing any other different hookups in this show? I mean, does Abraham ditch Rosita and end up with Sasha? And would that get Eugene to actually make a move on Rosita? What about Tara and Denise? Also, how about Aaron? Is Eric still alive on this show, and are they still a couple? Plus, Daryl, he hasn't hooked up with anybody on this show, and is that because he might be gay? I do have a theory. And what about the young love between Carl and Enid? I mean, Ron's out of the way now, so it's open season on her, right? Did I mention I can't stand Enid? So leave a comment below and tell me, who do you think is going to hook up on this show? If you like the video, tap the like button and share with your friends because this channel only grows with you. Plus, don't forget to subscribe so you get notified the moment I upload. And I will see you in the next video.